morning, or actually, good afternoon. I just wanted to come and wish you guys a good Sunday, and kind of just talk to you guys because I know I haven't really been on recently, but so I just kind of want to show my face and talk to you guys a little bit. So here I am. So happy Sunday. It's funny because like I know last time I was talking to you guys about contentment, right, and how to try to find contentment within yourself and how it's beneficial for you to, so that way you can find true wish fulfillment within yourself. I know I mentioned that, and so I kind of want to touch a little bit more on that from last time I was talking to you guys, right? And so it's crazy because like it's not easy, right? So it's hard. Like it's not, nothing that's good for you. I don't think that anything that's good for you is easy to obtain. I feel like if it's too easy to obtain, then it's not really worth it, you know? And so I always kind of like, I know that like finding contentment within myself is hard, and that's okay, right? Because everything that's kind of hard to obtain is actually beneficial in the end. I think you'll get more fulfillment if it's hard, if you actually strive for it, right? Because no one can take it from you in the end, right? Because you actually strive for it. And when you strive for it, that's when you find true contentment within yourself, because you actually worked for it, right? And no one can take that from you because you actually put the work in, right? Versus the latter, right? And so it's not hard to find true contentment within yourself, but I had to, because I went through my own self-discovery journey, right? And so that's how I was able to find my true contentment within myself, by overcoming obstacles that were thrown in my way, adversaries, and just everything, you know. And by me overcoming it, I was able to find true contentment in the end with myself, regardless of what was thrown my way later on, you know. And by me striving each day, and without being malicious to everyone else, you know, or trying to like be untruthful or anything like that, you know, I was able to find true contentment within myself, right? And so no one can really take that from me, I don't think. And so that's why everything, like if I do have obstacles or anything stand in my way, you know, I'm still able to go on and still be content regardless, because I've overcame so much, you know. And by me being content while overcoming the obstacles and stuff, you know, and not letting it overcome me and trampling on me and destroying me, you know, I was able to stay content even while striving, you know. That's why, like, a lot of times, you guys don't know my life, probably not, but like a lot of times if I go through like adversaries or like obstacles, you know, I'm still able to be content within myself and fulfilled, right? So I'm still able to do certain things, pursue my goals, do certain things regardless of what's thrown my way, because of the fact that I'm truly content and truly fulfilled within myself, right? Instead of reaching for it through outer means, like the worldly things, right? And so by me being like that, my faith just grew. And so every time I go through things, I know God will take care of me somehow, you know? And each time I go through it, it just makes it that much stronger, and it just evolves my level of conscious state, pretty much. And for me to actually be one with God, because, you know, God is within all of us, right? Because God created everything. He created us too. And that's what I believe, right? And so since God is in with everything, he is within all of us too. And the only way that we'd be able to learn that is by striving and going through our own self-discovery journey, working on your childhood traumas, working on all your addictions, working on the way you are with other people, working on yourself with self-love, regardless of how you look or how your body is at this point, right? But working on all of that, you just become more content with yourself, and you're able to do certain things with the elements once you become one with yourself, which is God, and get to that godly state of conscious, right? But you can't really do that unless you strive through it, because you can't just get it that easy and just expect everything to do certain things, right? You actually have to work towards it, because nothing's free, you know. Nothing that's important is free or easy. So of course it's going to be hard, right? But you still got to like work through it. So I've learned that actually when I was as I've been going through my own journey and stuff, you know. So no one can really take that from me, because I worked so hard for it, you know, and I actually worked for it instead of stealing it from other people or trying to be malicious or taking what's not mine, that's not mine, you know. So I think that's the only way that you can actually evolve your state of conscious, is by actually striving and working hard towards it, and working on your childhood traumas, working on yourself, finding self-love within yourself to be able to evolve your state of conscious, right? And then once you are able to overcome the worldly desires and worldly items and things like that, then you'll be able to become the master of the earth, and which means that your state of conscious will be evolved to a state where you don't let worldly things control you. You are actually in control over the worldly things, right? As far as, let's say like I was an alcoholic, right? And it controlled me because I always depended upon it to every day, right? And by me depending on it all the time, it was actually in control over me instead of me being in control over it, right? But then as I evolved and worked on myself, right, I became a master over it. So I don't drink as much, right? I would drink on occasions or celebrations or anything, things of that sort, right? Instead of doing it every day or all day, you know, to where it's controlling me and taking over my life, right? And taking me away from my goals and everything, right? So by me being in control over it, it just evolves my state of conscious, right? Because I overcame it, the worldly things, right? And so the more that you overcome certain things and adversaries and obstacles and things of that sort, you're able to become one with God, which is one with your own state of conscious and your mind, right? Because you overcame it, right? And so by you doing that, nothing can actually take that away from you, because you actually did it yourself and you actually overcame it yourself, right? And so that's what I'm talking about as far as like overcoming worldly things, not letting it overcome you, and being in control over worldly things and not letting it be in control over you to where you can't even evolve because you're stuck on the bottom of the tree of life, right? You can't really rise unless you overcome it, your obstacles and your adversaries or anything that's thrown in your way that will harm you, right? So you have to be a master of time and space, be a master of worldly things, be a master of the earth, and don't let it be a master over you, because you will never be able to evolve to a godly state of conscious if you let those worldly things control you and your mindset, right? So the only way that you can evolve your conscious level to a godly state, because we all have God in us, right? So we all can get to a godly state, but you have to work on yourself to get there. It's not easy, right? But once you overcome your obstacles and addictions and things that are bounding you to time and space, then that's when your level of conscious state will actually increase and evolve into where you're able to be one with everything, which is the universe, right? Once you become one, once you overcome the earthly realm, right, being in control over time and space, then you'll be able to work on your everything else to be able to become one with everything, right? And that's your more of your godly state of conscious. So you can't really get there if you are letting things of the world control you instead of being in control over it, right? And it's so crazy because I noticed, like, over my time of trying to evolve and like going through certain obstacles and adversaries, I've learned, like, the more that I did overcome it, the more confident I became within myself, knowing and having faith within myself, because I knew that God was able to help me out certain situations each time, right? It was never able to bring me down, because some way, somehow, something would happen to where he would help me out, right? And so it just helped my faith become stronger each time. And I was able to overcome a lot of things, right, each time. And it just raised the evolution of my mindset each time, because just knowing that I'll be okay. But that's because I work with the universe instead of against it, right? Which is God, pretty much. And I just do what I have to do, right? And the more I did that, the more I was able to overcome a lot of things. And that's why you guys see me being content. If I do go through stressful situations, I'm still content, because I work so hard on it that it can never be taken from me, because it's abiding. So it lasts forever because it's within me, instead of me finding contentment with worldly things like alcohol or people or anything, you know. So I reached in myself and found it within myself to where it's abiding now, so nobody can really take it from me, because I actually went through that journey and found it within myself versus not, right? So it's funny, because like the more that you guys learn and involve in stuff, the more you understand that you can do certain things with the universe and the elements of the world, because you're in control. You'll be evolved so much to where you'll get to the godly state of conscious, to where, like, to me, I noticed I could do certain things with the elements because of my godly state of conscious, right? Because I understand after a while of striving and going through my own self-discovery that I was a part of everything. And like, I'm a part of you guys too, you know. Like, I'm sure you guys could feel my energy if I like come on here with angry or in a good mood too, you know. So with me understanding that I'm a part of you guys too, I send out good vibrations to you guys too, to kind of help other people to be able to evolve themselves too. Because what is the use of me having knowledge that God's given to me without even expressing it or helping other people? It doesn't make sense. So I would sit with this knowledge and not do anything with it? No. You know, try to help other people that are actually willing to help themselves to get to that godly state of conscious, to where they're able to do certain things with the elements without having to do magic or be deceitful or sneaky towards others and stealing things from people, right? But the only way that I was able to do that is by working on myself, my childhood traumas, and just having self-love for myself, right? So you can't really get to that godly state unless you actually work on yourself, because it's not going to work if you don't. So nothing that is good for you is easy. I don't think it's easy. I think if it's too easy, it's not really worth it. But the more that you work on yourself, the harder that it is, the easier that you're able to strive above it and be able to find that true contentment within yourself, because you actually worked on yourself and went through that process versus skipping steps to get there, you know, if that makes sense. So it's so crazy, because like I learned, like, the more that I was able to evolve my state of conscious, the more that I was able to do certain things with the elements without having to do magic or manipulate others or anything like that, right? And so it's just been amazing. But I know now that, like, you can't really reach that state unless you actually master time and space, which is the worldly desires and worldly things, things that you think that would satisfy you, but you know that really deep down it's not, because it's only temporary, because things on the earth that actually fulfill you are just temporary, because it's not abiding. So there's limits to it, right? So you can be happy with your new car for like a certain amount of months and then want to go get a new car to be fulfilled with yourself, instead of being fulfilled with yourself without the car, you know. And then once you get it, then it just be a cherry on top, versus you have to have it to be happy. You should have that happiness within yourself, regardless if you have the car or not, you know. Certain things like that, that's what I'm talking about when I'm speak on worldly things, right? So once you have that true contentment within yourself, the true fulfillment within yourself, you're not going to have to look out for anything else in the world to make you happy. You have it inside yourself. So regardless of the situations or obstacles that you face, you will still be content with yourself because you already have that true fulfillment within yourself, regardless if you have the car or not. And that's just an example. So once you get to that state, then you'll be a master of time and space, which is the master of earth. And once you become the master of earth, you'll be able to evolve your state of conscious to a godly state of conscious to do certain things with the elements that anyone else can really do because they don't have that knowledge on how to do it, right? And so, pretty much, because knowledge brings wisdom, which wisdom would bring power, right? So if you don't have the knowledge, you're not going to have the wisdom because you're not going to have that knowledge. But once you have the knowledge and you have the wisdom to be able to work on yourself, to be able to overcome time and space, which is the earthly realm, right? Because you have the knowledge on how to do that. And because you have that knowledge above anyone else, then it turns into wisdom because you have that knowledge above anyone else. And then with the wisdom that you have, because you know how to find true contentment and fulfillment within yourself, it just brings power. So with knowledge brings wisdom, with wisdom brings power. And with the power, you have the power of knowing to be truly content with yourself regardless of your situation or obstacles or adversaries that's thrown in your way. And to be able to still have that godly state of conscience to do certain things with the elements. But you can't really do that unless you actually work on yourself and evolve. You can't be like stuck in like hope, like grabbing onto material things and still feel fulfilled, because it's not abiding, right? So there's limits to it. It's not limitless. The only time it's limitless is if you find it within yourself without having those things, right? So when you gain it, it just be a cherry on top versus you need it to be happy, if that makes sense. But the more you evolve and overcome certain things, you actually become one with the universe. When you become more with God within yourself, then you're able to do certain things with the elements. But you can't get there unless you work on yourself, if that makes sense. So I don't know. I kind of like come on here and talk to you guys about it just to kind of like share what I actually have to experience and what I learned through my journey as far as becoming one with myself and God and everything else, and how I was able to do certain things with the elements. But that's not going to happen unless you guys have the knowledge on how to do that. That's why I come on here and talk about it instead of keeping it to myself, because why would God give me the information just to keep it to myself? I think there might be, I don't think that's good. He gave it to me for a reason. So why not talk to you guys about it, what I went through and how I was able to overcome certain things to be able to get to that godly state of conscious, to evolve, So yeah. The first thing is overcoming time and space, which is being in control over worldly things instead of letting it control you to where you're out here doing crazy stuff for it, or letting it take over yourself and changing who you truly are, your true self, right? So over time, you'll be able to get to the top to where, as far as your conscious levels go, to where you're at more of a godly state, to where you're able to go up and down the tree of life without letting it affect you, because you already mastered it. You already mastered time and space. So nothing can really hurt you because you already mastered it, if that makes sense. So, and once you master it and become one with everything, pretty much with the universe, then you'll understand and learn how the universe works, because it'll start working with you regardless of anything that's happening in your life. The universe will always give you what you need in the end, as long as you're true to yourself and others, right? So in the end, regardless of the obstacles, adversaries that's thrown your way, as long as you strive through it and not let it overcome you, then you'll be able to overcome it, and then be able to do certain things as far as being a master over time and space, right? And have that godly state of mind in the end, to where you can do certain things with the elements without doing magic. So that's what I learned through my self-discovery journey, and that's why I share the knowledge with you guys, because it's like, why would I have it to myself for no reason, just to keep it in and not share it with anyone that's actually trying to work on themselves, right? That's kind of selfish, which is like, not good to the journey. You know, it's not going to help you evolve. So yeah, I don't think God would give me this information not to share it, you know. So I'll explain it more to you guys over time, you know, like the other steps that you have to go through to actually get to the godly state of conscious, you know, because there's steps to it, but you actually have to work on yourself to get there. You can't just fall on your lap and you just have all this knowledge and all this wisdom, which is power. You can't get there unless you actually work on yourself, right? And the way that you do that, the first thing to do from what I learned on my journey is by being a master of time and space, which is the earth. And the only way that you can do that is actually working on yourself, your childhood traumas and all that, right? To be able to be a master of time and space. So yeah, it's so crazy because there's like I believe like the other day I was like talking to someone and I was like talking about this song that I usually listen to, this album. I think it was Kendrick Lamar's album. And I was like, I've been listening to that album or whatever. And then she was like, she told me, she's like, that's so crazy. I remember that album. And so like literally not even 5 minutes later, the song changed and it was a song from that album. And I was just like, that's so crazy. Like I was just talking about him, like literally less than 5 minutes. No kidding, you guys. His song started playing. I think it was like To Pimp a Butterfly, that album. One of his songs started playing right after I said that. And then she was like, see, that's so crazy. And I was like, I know, it's so crazy. Like that's happened to me a lot of times, but I think it's because how evolved my mindset is, how I was able to get to the godliest state of conscious to be able to do certain things like that, or have the universe work with me in that manner to be able to have things manifest within my life, right? The way that it needs to. But you can't really do that unless you're pure and have like, you truly want to work on yourself, right? No cutting corners, no cheating to get to where you need, and nothing like that, right? You actually have to work on yourself to get there. If not, it's not going to work, especially if you have a dark heart. That's really not going to work. That's one of the keys. Like your heart has to be light as a feather to even get there. So that's why you have to work on yourself, right? And then I think it was another thing I did. I was sitting in my car one day and I was like, I said this out loud. I was like, as long as no one knock on my door, I'll be fine, right? And then right after that, I seen like this guy across the street. He's walking down the street and I didn't think anything of it. And he ended up walking across the street and it was dark, right? He ended up walking across the street and he just ended up at my door and he started knocking on my window. And I was like, what the heck? I just said that, you know, like, and he was like, I think I know you. And I was like, no, I don't think you know me, dude. Like, go get away from my door. It freaked me out because I just said it. I was like, as long as no one knock on my door, I'll be fine. And he straight up came across the street and knocked on my door. And I was like, that's crazy. So like certain things I would say or do, like it'll actually happen like immediately. So, but I think it's because of my state of conscious as far as it being evolved to that certain state to where I'm able to manifest with the universe, which is God, because God is the universe, because God is within everything, right? But the only way I was able to do that is by overcoming a lot, you know, striving and finding my true self and self-love and going on my own discovery, healing my childhood traumas, all of that, right? I didn't have to do magic. I didn't have to do anything. God worked for me. God did everything for me. I didn't have to do anything to obtain it. I just let him do it. And that was the best result. Instead of fighting fire with fire, you know, dibbling dabbling into dark magic to hurt others or take from others, I didn't have to do any of that. All I had to was true to God and true to myself and heal my traumas and overcome worldly desires and all that, and just finding true wish fulfillment within myself without having those things. So whenever I get it, I'll just be more satisfied and more fulfilled, to be honest. It's not going to change me if I have it or not have it, you know. I still be true to myself because I already found the happiness within myself, you know. And so yeah. And you get the best results after that or doing it that way, because no one can freaking take it away from you, because it's abiding. It's not a part of the world. You found it within yourself. So when you find it within yourself, it's abiding, so no one can take it away from you, because it's not limited, if that makes sense. Because they can't take that away from you, because it's within you, the God within you. So how can they take that away? You know? So, I don't know. I just wanted to come talk to you guys for a little bit. And wish you guys a good Sunday and all that good stuff. So yeah. I don't know. But I'll be back to talk to you guys again. I just wanted to wish you guys a good day before I actually start my day. So, yeah. So, yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon, and I love you. Bye.